Hello, and thanks for tuning in to the semifinal round of BevNet's new Beverage Showdown 20 competition. I'm Ray Latif, the editor and producer of BevNet's Taste Radio podcast, the #1 podcast for the food and beverage industry. Sponsored by Venturing Emerging Brands and operating unit of the Coca-Cola Company, the new Beverage Showdown is BevNet's signature beverage brand competition and gives 12 early stage and promising brands the opportunity to present their business plans and products to a panel of expert judges and our live stream audience. The winner of the two-day competition will receive a $10,000 ad package and join a short list of brands that have triumphed in the showdown, including Health-Ade Kombucha, Malk, Rise Brewing Company, Tio Gazpacho, Hop Tea, and Grady's Cold Brew. Let's talk about the rules for the semifinal round. Each of the 12 brands will have 2 minutes to present and receive 2 to 3 minutes of immediate feedback from the judging panel. The judges have already sampled the products. After all of the brands have presented, the judges will pick 5 brands to move on to the final round on Thursday. The 6th finalist will be chosen by audience vote. At the end of today's semifinal round, we're going to show a list of all of the participants and a number next to each brand name. Live stream viewers will have an opportunity to vote by texting or calling the corresponding number of your favorite brand to a phone number that we'll provide. You can also call the phone number, as I mentioned, to vote. The voting will begin after all the semifinalists have presented and all the feedback has been given and end a half an hour after the round is done. So let's meet our aforementioned panel of judges. First up is Mike Schneider, who is the CMO of BevNet. Mike is a seasoned executive who lives at the collision of brand, experience, and product. He has deep roots in branding, mobile content, and events. Everyone knows who Mike is. At BevNet Mike on Instagram, check him out. He's also the star of a new movie called Gooner, The Life of a Modern Arsenal fan. So it's, look for that in theaters soon.
It's a sad story, Ray.
Next up is Matt Hughes, who is the VP of Emerging Brands Incubation and Commercialization for Venturing and Emerging Brands. Matt leads emerging brand commercial strategies across channels and routes to market, partners with VEB investment portfolio brands to accelerate growth, and leads integration of investment brands upon acquisition. He's a founding member of VEB, has been in the beverage industry for over 30 years, and has launched 3 entrepreneurial beverage brands prior to joining the Coca-Cola Company. Next is Richard Medina, who is a co-founder and CEO of Los Angeles Distributing Company. Richard is a 12-year CPG veteran focused on business development, strategy, and chain management. He's in charge of brand procurement, contract negotiation, and the creation of new streams of revenue at LA Distributing. Last but certainly not least is Jody Levy, who is the co-founder of Watermelon Water. She's an artist, designer, entrepreneur, executive, and investor from the Detroit area. As I mentioned, she's the founder of Watermelon Water and several other companies, including detox cleanse brand Lab Elemental. She's also partner, advisor, and investor in many category disrupting brands and companies connected to the clean living wellness lifestyle space that empower people to take care of themselves and optimize their happiness and purpose. Just a fantastic judging panel. I am so excited to have them all on board. I'm so excited to hear their feedback and advice for our entrepreneurs today. Let's get to our entrepreneurs. Our first semifinalist of this round is Michael Sharon, who is the co-founder and CEO of Taica. Michael, how are you?
I'm doing great. How you doing, Ray?
I'm doing fantastic. So great to see you again. Really excited to hear your pitch. Are you ready to give it?
I am so ready.
Fantastic. Your 2 minutes will begin now.
Hi, I'm Michael, co-founder of Taica, coffee that accentuates reality. We've created the world's first perfectly calibrated coffee by taking the craft and richness of specialty coffee and adding our unique blend of adaptogens to make you feel awake, aware, and inspired. Taica is the Finnish word for magic, and we have 3 enchanting flavors: a brilliantly bold and smooth black coffee, a creamy oat milk latte that tastes like coffee cereal milk, and a first of its kind macadamia latte that tastes like melted coffee ice cream. All of our coffees are plant-based, have no added sugar, and contain a unique Taica blend of functional mushrooms and adaptogens. We're available for delivery within 2 hours from our website and are carried at over 150 stores in New York, San Francisco, and LA. Now, we made Taica because most coffee is based on where it's grown or the country it comes from, the origin. Taica is the first coffee that's based on how it makes you feel, the destination. My co-founder, Kel, is one of the best baristas in the world, and he invented a patent-pending method of naturally controlling the amount of caffeine in coffee. My background is in technology, and I spent many years working in high-stress environments, which is where I first began exploring the benefits of adaptogens in coffee. We started off beta testing Taica with startups in San Francisco and sold more than 50,000 cans of coffee to companies like Calm, Medium, and Visco. We've had a phone number on the front of the can from day one to make it easy for people to text us anytime. Our mission is to help people live a healthier lifestyle without changing their habits or behaviors. We do this by taking products that people consume on a daily basis and redesigning them to be both delicious and authentically good for you. We call this stealth health. Thank you.
Well done, Michael. Excellent job. When I saw Taica for the first time, I said, someone who has to look at this, and I'd love to hear her feedback on it, is Jody Levy. Really interesting looking can. As Michael mentioned, a phone number on the front of that can. Give me your initial thoughts, Jody, on the packaging and the brand itself.
Well, I like that this weekend when I went to text it, I already had a text in my phone from a year ago when I first saw it. So that made me really happy. It made me feel like it's working. I love the phone number on the can as like a campaign. I feel like there's so much of your story I want to be there, but it makes it so fun. It's very engaging.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, the entire approach. When you think about Taica, what Michael was talking about, there's a functional attribute to it. There's an indulgence attribute to it. Does one need to be played up more than the other, Mike?
That's a great question, Ray. I mean, as a coffee purist, I think coffee is the perfect beverage. And so I look at this and I say, all right, there's a phone number there. And I'm thinking maybe I'm not the target demographic, because I was thinking I should call the number versus text it, I got a Carly Rae Jepsen "Call Me Maybe" vibe when I looked at the can. But anyway, so I'm asking myself, is this a beverage for me? And do I need adaptogens in coffee? There's a lot going on here. I think this is for somebody who is, they've gotten to that point in coffee where they're just like, what's the next level of coffee? I might not be there yet.
Richard, I'm sure you've seen your share of new coffee brands to come to market. And I'm sure one of your first questions is, how is this different? Do you see significant differentiation in Taica versus what has already come to market?
100%. We see a new cold brew every single week. And I like how Taica stayed away from mentioning cold brew. It's elevated coffee with adaptogens. So that's a niche that we do growing in the market. And it was a huge point of differentiation early on when I first saw the brand. And with the phone number in the front, that is what gets the consumer to grab the can, which I think is 90% of the work.
Matt, I think Michael mentioned that Taica is the first coffee out there that allows consumers to feel something different. The tagline is the world's first perfectly calibrated coffee. Are all these things, these things that Michael mentioned his pitch, things that consumers want at this point?
Yeah, well, certainly part of the emerging area of functionality, right? We're getting functionality in different ways, and certainly from beverages. So yes, I think this idea of accentuated reality through the ingredients is interesting. I've not quite heard it coined that way, so that's somewhat unique at this point. Obviously, the taste needs to pay off as well, because we know taste is certainly a key thing here. But the ingredient panel is interesting. If you can deliver on the functional claims, maybe there's something here for them.
Did you like the taste?
It paid off in the taste. I thought it was delicious.
Yeah, the macadamia latte was quite approachable for me. So good.
Yeah, so good.
Outstanding. Well done. Great feedback. Great pitch, Michael. Thank you so much. Let's move on to our next semifinalist for this round. That's Paul Vosges, who is the co-founder and CEO of Ora Bora. Paul, how are you?
I'm doing well, Ray. Thanks for having me.
Great to see you, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Of course. I actually 2 minutes start now.
I'll give you your 2-minute timer right about now. How about that?
All right. My name is Paul Vosges. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Ora Bora. We make sparkling waters from herbs, fruits, and flowers. Like a lot of office workers, I was drinking a lot of conventional sparkling water to get through the day. Go over to the company fridge, grab a can of conventional sparkling water. but I didn't really enjoy the experience. I wanted something that was more tailor-made to my palate, that was exciting, a brand I could be excited about. So my wife, Maddie, and I, we bought a soda stream and we started experimenting at home with some botanicals and essential oils and fruits we had on hand. And Ora Bora was born. We found that it gave it a more natural experience, a better taste, something we looked forward to. And we started marketing these products about a year ago. You all know sparkling water is competitive, it's crowded. How can we disrupt this market? And we decided our super unique flavors would be the way to do it. Everything is moving artisan. So what Kettle did to potato chips or Jenny's did to ice cream, or I could pick 5 or 6 more examples in different categories, we hope to do to sparkling water. We want to really bring creative tastes that people haven't tried elsewhere, lemongrass, peppermint, basil, herbs they're familiar with in different mediums, and bring them to sparkling water. Sugar-free, calorie-free, Whole30 approved, non-GMO. Our packaging sells the product the first time with bright colors and illustrations as whimsical as the flavors, and the flavors sell it each time thereafter. In just 12 months, we've seen quite a bit of market validation that indeed it wasn't just me. A lot of people were looking for a artisan experience with their sparkling water. Today, 12 months later, we're in 600 stores. We launched in our first region of Whole Foods. We're expanding with Whole Foods next year, as well as a few other exciting big box retailers. And we found that there is a group of people that are extremely passionate about flavors, and they love sparkling water. Thanks so much.
Outstanding. Well done, Paul. Richard, how much runway is there for an artisanal sparkling water brand?
Well, when I first saw sparkling water, I was worried because it is a very crowded market. But I do think you guys need to focus on the herbal and botanical side. What really caught my attention was your flavor profile. Very unique. I have not seen it among the competitors, but I think letting your consumers know that, what are the health benefits to consuming your product versus, the mass-produced traditional guys that you can find at every corner in the market.
Mike, Paul mentioned that the can grabs you immediately, as the can grabs a consumer immediately from the get-go and initiates trial. Did you feel that way? Do you feel that way about the packaging?
Yes and no. I like this product a lot. I think it's big and bold. The flavors are really great. If you are and as you said, these are flavors that from other places, and bringing them to water is a great idea. I find, like I said, them to be big and bold, and you can, you can drink this all day. You can even with water and drink it longer. I think the thing that I'm looking at the can here and I'm saying, bring the flavors out. You've got this kind of Super Mario vibe going on the can, and I like the colors for the flavors, but I want to see those come forward, and I want to know that it's sparkling water when I'm looking at it as well. I think those are kind of muddled.
Matt, so many new sparkling water brands coming to market. It's becoming a very crowded category. When you're thinking about Ora Bora, does it fit the bill for you in terms of how you evaluate new sparkling water products coming to market?
Yeah, it's interesting, right? I was a little bit thrown by the branding. I didn't really make the immediate connection between herbal enhanced sparkling water in the brand name Ora Bora. So, perhaps there's more sort of communication or education on that one to break it so it can break through, to your point, a very crowded space. I do think that the unusual combination of flavors is certainly a benefit that they're going for. So that could be a way they can break through. But it's tough to get the education out there when it is so crowded. So be interesting to see how the brand evolves when they're faced with a lot of similar cans in the marketplace. Maybe it's the graphics that Mike was talking about. I'm not sure, but there's some work to do there in terms of the branding side, I think.
And Jody, as an entrepreneur, as a former beverage entrepreneur, well, I guess once a beverage entrepreneur, always one. It's interesting when you talk about retail traction and getting your brand on shelf. It's not easy to do, and it sounds like Paul has had some success there. Is he on the right track in terms of the outlets he's going for and the retail strategy as he outlined?
I mean, I think right now everything's different. I think this pandemic globally has changed everything, and anything that you can get to people's stores and like, any easy way for them to tell you that they want product, it's advantageous. And it's the best way to create a long-term relationship with people so that when everyone's like back on the streets, and whether it's 6 months or 12 months or hopefully not longer, they can recognize the brand. And I think everything everybody's talking about, if there's a true benefit to the herbals included, that becomes the hook to sell people why they need it on repeat on their doorstep, every 2 weeks. And so I would focus there and probably double down there for right now.
All right. Great advice. Great feedback. Thank you so much, Paul. All right. Let's move on to our third semifinalist of this round. Third semifinalist, that is Vivi Mullen and Ben Corn, who are the co-CEOs of Go Big. Vivi, Ben,
Hi.
how are you?
Hey, Ray.
Hi.
Great to see you guys.
Likewise, you too.
All right. We know what they say, go big or go home. So you guys ready to give your pitch?
For sure.
For sure.
So,
Fantastic. Your 2 minutes begin now.
hi, I'm Ben.
And I'm Vivi, and we're the co-founders of Go Big. Imagine if 5-Hour Energy and a Vibe Wellness shot had a baby. That's what Go Big is. We took the best attributes of each category and combined them into something exponentially better. This all started because we were tired. I was a new exhausted mom and was taking guarana, as I had always done whenever I needed the energy that coffee couldn't give me. If you don't know, guarana, it's a seed from my native country, Brazil, something every Brazilian knows. It has been used by Amazonian tribes for centuries and has been scientifically proven to improve memory, focus, and athletic performance.
So Vivi shared growing with me because I was waking up early for a 6 a.m. CrossFit class, and it was the best energy thing I had ever tried in my life. So I shared it with my friends, and before long, they started asking me to buy it. And that was the moment that we decided to look at the market and the opportunity. And you guys know the story about energy drinks. It's a huge market, just a few companies selling high junk products that are very narrowly branded. And why hasn't a better for you natural brand disrupted this sector like pretty much every other category? Well, we found the answer is pretty simple. There are two things that matter above all else. It's function and it's taste. So all of the natural competitors out there are weak. We are the only natural energy shot that delivers the equivalent amount of caffeine of a 5-hour energy, and that's what energy shot consumers expect. Second, shots are not exactly known for their great taste, and caffeine is very bitter. So making a shot even palatable is a very difficult thing to do without all of the artificial ingredients. So it took us hundreds of formulations, but we believe we've gotten to a place where we have the best tasting shot, natural or artificial, ever made.
Go Big also contains superfruits and apple cider vinegar because that's what we wanted in a drink that we took daily. Finally, we're redefining what it means to be an energy drink, not only from an ingredient perspective, but also by building a brand based on values of empowerment and inclusivity.
And this is coming from the only female CEO in the entire category.
Go Big.
Well done. Well done indeed. Well, the word taste was brought up in the pitch a number of times, and I agree. Taste is really important when it comes to energy shots. Matt, what do you think of the taste of Go Big?
Yeah, so the founders nailed it. I mean, caffeine is really tough to mask in a shot format, especially because of the concentration. Know that from experience from my entrepreneurial days before Coke. And so I think they've done certainly improved on what I had, which isn't saying much, I guess. But no, it's approachable. It's not delicious, right? The way you might find some of the lower caffeinated shots that are out there that are more fruit forward or flavor based. So I think there you've got to have the balance of delivering on the caffeine, as the founders were mentioning, and the trade-off that you're going to get in terms of the bitterness that comes with that. So a good start, and I would just suggest that they keep, playing with the taste profile to try to get a little more mainstream over time.
Mike, the shot category is interesting because there's not a lot of real estate to work with when it comes to the bottle itself. In terms of packaging and the brand of Go Big, what are your thoughts?
It's a simple package, Ray. I mean, I think it does what it's supposed to do. It says Go Big. You say, well, what makes it go big? And then you find quickly that it's, how much energy you're going to get, how many milligrams of caffeine, equivalent coffee. That's what people want, I think. I'm with Matt on the taste. I think, again, this is a pretty hard category to make taste delicious, but I think we also have to remember what you're up against and what the consumer is used to. So when you're comparing it, the bar is pretty friggin' low. And so this is, this is raising it. Oh, but Matt's point that it's raising it slightly, I agree with that. I was like, when I first drank this, because I'm not a big drinker of this kind of shot. And so it is a little bit jarring for somebody who's not used to those shots, but people who are used to it are going to go, oh yeah, okay, I get it.
Jody, in terms of the brand story, as told by Vivian Ben, I mean, how much of that really resonated with you? How much of that do you want to see more of in the packaging and in the branding and promotion of Go Big?
I feel like I don't totally get a payoff on what the name means. So I'd like that to kind of hit me. And I think that if I expected the guarana seed taste, I would know what I'm expecting more because it's such a clean ingredient profile. But it's not leading with the guarana as the source of natural energy, and it's punching you when you taste it. And I think the clean profile makes it accessible to people that don't typically drink energy drinks, which is where the amazing opportunity is. So it feels like there could be a little bit more information at like the quick read.
Richard, when I first met you about 10 years ago, the number of new energy shots coming to market was probably pretty mind-boggling. I think we saw a new one every week. Seeing less so nowadays. Are we seeing a return? Are consumers asking for more of these products? And if so, is Go Big the right brand to go to market with this sort of potentially new generation of energy shots?
Well, so there are more shots. The difference now is that they're refrigerated and they're really focused on the wellness side. As Jody mentioned, I was a little confused with the name Go Big. I did say Go Big in energy, so I knew energy was leading. The taste, the one that I did taste because it relates more to just wellness shots is that orange turmeric flavor. When I had that, it didn't remind me anything of what the market has right now in terms of orange turmeric shots. But I think just educating the consumer, letting the consumer know that it's woman owned, it's energy forward. I think that would be key. The packaging is very simple. But I think maybe some updates on letting them know what to expect is really what I would focus on.
All right, great stuff. Well done, Vivian Ben. All right, let's move on to our next semifinalists for this round. Semifinalists, again, we have Tammy Young and Tony Lamb, who are the CEO and co-founders, period, of Omni Bev. Tammy,
Hi,
Tony,
Ray.
how are you? Good to see you again.
Hi, Ray. Good. How are you?
Great. You ready to give your 2-minute pitch?
Yes, we are.
All right, your timer will start now.
Hi, I'm Tammy, and this is my partner, Tony Lam. Did you know that Vietnam is the second largest exporter and producer of coffee beans in the world? Omni is the world's first authentic, ready-to-drink Vietnamese cold brew coffee made with real Vietnamese beans harvested from my family farm in Dalat, Vietnam. Our beans are grown on mineral-rich volcanic soil. We brew and bottle our products in California. Our mission is to elevate quality, provide transparency, and create unique, delicious Asian beverages. At Omni, we're not just another bottle of coffee, we bottle a century of tradition and culture of Vietnam. Our passion inspired us to develop the best formulation of Vietnamese coffee. After a year of R&D, we now have 4 unique and delicious Vietnamese coffee products to share with the world.
Our products are simple, premium, and clean with no preservatives. Our most popular product is our Good Morning Saigon, also known as Café Soda. It's the traditional Vietnamese coffee served over condensed milk that you would usually find in Asian cafes and restaurants, but ours use real Vietnamese coffee beans. It's highly caffeinated with 3 cups of caffeine in this 10-ounce bottle. For the fitness folks who are always counting calories and like to drink their coffee straight up black, we have our signature Omni Black Coffee, which contains 0 sugar, has 0 calories, and is packed with 2 cups of caffeine. Our black is made with 100% Vietnamese Arabica beans from our single origin microlot farm. Our plant-based cold brew with coconut milk is dairy-free and combines a touch of sweetness from the coconut milk. It's 100% vegan, gluten-free with only 7 grams of sugar. And finally, we just released our coconut matcha 3 months ago. And so far, it's been a major hit. This cold brew contains premium Japanese matcha. In just 3 months, we've made significant traction. We signed up over 200 convenience stores, 100 restaurants, and 7 grocery stores to carry our product. And finally, our manufacturing plant can produce over 200,000 bottles a day. The time is right, so let's disrupt the coffee industry together. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well done. Jody, I see you looking at the package so intently. You've been looking at it for the past minute or so. Anything that you stands out in terms of feedback you want to offer?
Well, there's a really specific story about the Vietnamese farming and tradition, and I'm making an assumption about vertical integration. So I like that there's this connection point to a place on the planet. I was just trying to, it's tough when you have a plastic bottle that feels like other things to kind of get the story across. So I was just trying to look at like how much of that comes through relative to the condensed milk and the Vietnamese coffee combination and the tradition and the heritage that comes from that, which I feel like is missing a little bit, because I think that there's a power to that story that might come through in here.
Reason for being is so important. We talk about it a lot on Taste Radio. We talk about it a lot all the time. And I wonder, Matt, as the world's first Vietnamese cold brew coffee, what do you think of that reason for being when it comes to Omni Bev?
Yeah, I do think there's a real opportunity to deliver on that authenticity, the sourcing, the founder story, the background, the connection back to Vietnam. I mean, it's a beautiful story to tell. And by the way, you didn't ask this question, but I'll offer great tasting product. I mean, they nailed the product. So I think play around with packaging, perhaps, to Jody's point, messaging, bring the story out a little bit more, more in a stronger way. Perhaps it's done on their website, but I think there's a real, very important and strong connection to the source, to the origin, and it's lovely that there's a story that connects the founder there.
Richard, how would this product fit into your portfolio if you were to take on the brand? Does it fit? Does it make sense within a portfolio that already includes coffee brands, some coffee brands?
Yeah, so when bringing on new coffees and we're looking at calorie, sugar content, fat content, what's the data is trending towards lower sugar, lower fat, which you guys address in your coconut products. I think there is a market for Vietnamese, being a Vietnamese type of coffee. I think just having them penetrate the market like Los Angeles or New York to really prove out that sliver of the cold box. I think a lot of guys right now are really focused on that black. On the other side, you have some more sugary like the Dunkin' Donuts and the Frappuccinos of the world. I think understanding where you guys fit on that spectrum would be key, and let the data and customer feedback tell you where you fit. So, but for us, we're always looking for brands to get some data to show us where it's doing well and where to focus in terms of channels of trade.
Anyone who follows BevNet Mike on Instagram knows he's a coffee connoisseur. So following up on Matt's comments about the taste, what do you think about the taste and frankly, the functionality of a product as caffeinated as Omni Bev's?
I mean, the taste is extraordinary. We've, as you know, Ray, I do like to drink a lot of coffee. This one, I can't drink a lot of this one because it is very strong. And I think that it says it on the label, it tells you what you're getting yourself into. This one definitely pays off the wake up. So, the only thing that's confusing for me is the logo. I think it's going to be hard for some people to find based on if you say, go look for Omni, it's hard to see that logo is Omni. And I might play up Vietnamese and play down cold brew on the label, but I do love the packaging. I love that it's differentiated between latte and more traditional Vietnamese coffee, and I think this has legs.
Outstanding, well done, Tammy and Tony. Thank you so much for joining us today. Let's move on to our next semifinalist for the round. That's Kaylee McLaughlin, who is the founder and CEO of Kaylee's Culture. Kaylee, how are you?
Hi, I'm so excited.
I am so excited to have you in the New Beverage Showdown, and I'm excited to hear your pitch. Are you ready to give it?
I'm really ready.
All right. Your 2 minutes will begin now.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kaylee McLaughlin. I'm so excited and extremely grateful to be here with you today and to introduce to you what I consider to be my fourth child, my product, Kaylee's Culture for Kids. Let's start from the beginning. I was born and raised in San Diego, where I met my husband in high school. We got married right after he finished flight school, and we started our family in San Diego. It was after the birth of our first baby that my health journey really took off. I made baby formula, baby food, I juiced every day, I made kombucha and water kefir, just to name a few. You can't always control where you end up living as a military family, and we ended up at an austere military base in Nevada. We had our third child there, and now, with 3 kids, 3 and under, making my kombucha and water kefir became next to impossible. Probiotics through food and drinks have always been part of our daily lives, and I have seen the incredible benefits they've produced. I looked to the stores for a replacement beverage for my kids, but it wasn't there. What I found were dozens of healthy, functional beverages for adults, but not one for kids that met those standards, my standards, until now. Kaylee's Culture is a probiotic sparkling water with organic fruit essence and monk fruit. Each drink contains 5 billion CFU, a child's daily recommended dose of probiotics. I chose Bacillus subtilis as the probiotic for Kaylee's Culture because it is the powerhouse probiotic that helps kids fully absorb nutrients from food and helps support a healthy immune system. We launched a market test in Los Angeles just a month ago, and considering the type of year 2020 has been, we're actually selling really well. With little to no marketing, we are seeing positive organic sales in small grocers and convenience stores. Kaylee's Culture is in a slim 8.4-ounce can that kids can feel special grabbing off the shelf. My kids were always asking to drink my sparkling beverages, and now I can offer them one of their very own that has health benefits. Finally, an authentic, truly healthy, functional beverage designed for kids that we can feel good about.
Well done, Kaylee. Look at that. You nailed it in the 2 minutes. Fantastic stuff. All right. Matt, a functional beverage brand for kids. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I really like this one. Probiotic sparkling water, 5 billion cultures. I mean, I think you got to watch out for the efficacy of that. And, that's something that as the brand gets bigger, people may challenge. Sometimes that's hard to prove out. The idea of this sort of personal solution that Kaylee brings is a lovely backstory, and having higher standards as a starting point, I think can come through. So really good concept. I know a long way to go for Kaylee and team just launching, but no, I'm encouraged by this one.
Jody, as I mentioned, you're interested in brands and products that address clean living and wellness. It seems like Kaylee's Culture kind of fits into that category, into those categories. What are your thoughts in terms of selling a probiotic beverage to children, or selling a probiotic beverage for children?
I think it's really smart. I think that I have a 21-month-old twin niece and nephew, and they get all handmade, homemade, everything. And this was like the first product that my sister and I were like, they could drink this. So I'm super impressed with what's in it, how clean the label is. I actually didn't see that it was for kids. So we were having this discussion around like, oh, we could give this to the kids. But I think that the fact that it's for kids could really be amplified. But I think it's very smart. And I think that as parents are becoming more and more aware of our food system, it's going to be more and more important.
Richard, when you're thinking about kids beverages and distributing kids beverages, it's kind of a tricky situation because are you marketing to kids? Are you marketing to parents? How do you see Kaylee's as fitting into a sparkling water category or a kids beverage category? Where should it really fit into when it comes to category or set?
So, it's obviously the first, there are very few beverages new age beverages being targeted to kids. I think here that the trick is to get the mom to purchase it, which is the uphill battle. Because right now you have these larger kombucha companies or kefir companies already targeting that mom that can easily come out with another kids product. But I think for you, developing that loyal fan base, having unique formulas and offerings, you're developing a customer very early on, which is great. So I think at some point you may want to look to creating a non-kid beverage because you want to make sure you get that kid when they become, tweens and teenagers. But, I think just having it shelved with like the honest kids, I think that'd be a perfect way or place to market the brand.
Mike, you get the last word. In terms of label hierarchy, we see logo, we see bubbly probiotic water. We see some other call outs about, the amount of probiotic content. What are your thoughts on how Kaylee designed this package?
I mean, I love the way that this is designed. I love the playfulness of the product. I think that some of the words, like the word lemon, is a little muddled. You can't see it because it's because of the white, but she probably already knows that. I do hate the marketing here because, and I'm going to disagree with Jody, I don't like that this is a beverage for kids because it's so delicious. Just market it for families. Like, it's so hard because you're marketing to a demographic that's going to change. You know, they're continuously changing. They continuously change their tastes, but like, get them hooked on it and just tell them it's for them forever. I mean, this is a family beverage in my mind. I really like this product, and I think it has legs. I've said that about other products, but I believe this is true.
Mike, I'm glad he's always straightforward. He's always honest, even when he's not.
I
All
love
right.
Jody, though.
Thank you. Kaylee, thank you so much. Once again, great presentation. All right, let's move on. We have Talia Bennick, who's the founder of Sweet Crude, as our next semifinalist. Talia, how are you?
Hi, Ray. I'm well.
Great to see you again. How are things?
Good, thank you.
Good, good. Are you ready to give your 2-minute pitch?
Yes, I am.
Fantastic. All right, your 2 minutes will begin now.
All right. At Sweet Crude, we craft ready-to-sip CBD cocktails that are non-alcoholic and infused with hemp extract and natural terpenes. Our zero-proof cocktails are perhaps less functional and more experiential, from full-bodied sipping experience to conversation-starting packaging. Our target audience is the sober, curious millennial. There are 47 million of them right now. And unlike other CBD beverages, we are taking a terpene-forward approach. Terpenes are aromatic plant compounds that can trigger a mind-body connection. Think the calming terpenes in lavender. What we do, we embrace the terpenes from the hemp plant. And they are our base flavor note, which you'll see as earthy funk on our packaging. Last month, we launched with 2 SKUs. First, Mellow Mule, infused with Pineapple Express terpenes, which the Washington Post listed on their article of top canned cocktails. And OG Tonic, infused with Lime OG terpenes. We're also formulating 2 new SKUs with low to no added sugar for our next production. A single can retails between $4.99 and $5.50, which leaves 60% margin between distributor and retailer. And we've selected 5 retail outlets to test our merchandising and co-marketing strategies. Our direct-to-consumer channel is growing strong. We're having a 38% repurchase rate after month 1 of initial order. And our mission is to really make sure our customers feel they're most confident and carefree for the times they choose not to drink alcohol. Thank you.
All right, well done, Talia. Richard, let's start with you. I know you're seeing your share of CBD beverages, a ready-to-sip CBD cocktail. What do you think of the opportunity for a CBD-infused canned cocktail? Another category is in canned cocktails that's growing significantly in the past few months and years.
I guess that's where I got a little confused on the cocktails. I understand you're going after the sober curious, but I think at the very bottom was one of your key statements of terpenes. I think terpene motion for CBD type beverages. The product was great, a little bit more sugar than my palate, but not like you're addressing that with some no sugar options. But yeah, now CBD is really crowded. We are seeing the low sugar CBD options are really taking off, so maybe that can be some beneficial advice for your new formulations. But I would say focus on terpenes. That's going to differentiate you from those that are currently on the market.
Mike, I know you appreciate a good terpene flavor in a CBD beverage. What do you think of Sweet Crude in terms of its formulation? And I'm also interested to hear your thoughts on the name Sweet Crude.
I think it's Sweet Crude's a good name for this because it is sweet and it is a little bit funky, and crude's a good, and it, you think Sweet Crude, you're thinking oil, obviously, but I like the play there. It also has a crude little moniker on the front as well, or crude little tagline on the front as well, which I thought was went really well with the brand. What I like most about this, besides the flavor, which I really did get a lot of funk, and I think the word cocktail here is good. I mean, we've seen other companies like Proposition try this as well, where they said, you know, we're replacing the functionality of alcohol with CBD. I really like that, but I also really love the can, and I love how you had the colors and the flavors kind of, you know, aligned, and I enjoyed the simplicity of the message and how it paid off in the drink.
Matt, I think Talia mentioned 47 million sober curious millennials out there. In terms of that market size, you would think, hey, it's a no-brainer for a product like this. But you know, does market size really relate as specifically to opportunity for a brand like this?
Yeah, perhaps. Certainly, sober curious has been emerging, you know, from a trend perspective, not just in the U.S. but Europe and other geographies for a while now. You're seeing subcategories be developed in the sober curious movement, and then I like the fact that there's sort of a crossover with ready to drink cocktails, which are the fastest growing sector in alcohol today. So you've got two nice trends there to take advantage of potentially if you can nail that sweet spot in between them. So yeah, I think there's something here from a trend perspective. Obviously, the consumers are going to let Talia know what they think about taste and you know, visual identity system, et cetera. But it's certainly I think a good place to play.
Yeah, Jody, let's talk about visual identity. In terms of the packaging, the label hierarchy, what do you think Sweet Crude did right? Are there some things that you think they could improve upon?
You know, if I find myself working very hard to understand what's below the surface, what the name means, what the name of the actual SKU means, what the tagline means. And then once I get to the terpene story, I want so much more from it. So I happen to know a lot about terpenes, but most people don't even know what the word means. And so I feel like there's opportunities here, especially with the continuity of design, where there's some storytelling that could really like accentuate the experience.
All right. Great feedback from the judges. Great presentation, Talia. Thank you so much for joining us today. All right, let's move on to our next semifinalist for this round, who is Jessica Craig, the founder of Tarta Beverages. How are you, Jessica?
I'm doing great, Ray. How are you?
I'm doing great. Are you ready to give your presentation?
I am ready.
Fantastic. Your 2 minutes begin now.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Jessica Craig, founder of Tarta Beverages. Tarta is a functional seltzer I developed right here in my own home, in my own kitchen, to pivot my own daughter away from consuming sugar-laden, healthy, quote-unquote, beverages. Over time, and after many arguments, I realized that she was actually right. There was something missing in the market. So I decided to redesign and redefine what seltzer could be and fill the gap in the grocery shelf. I knew it was possible by incorporating the original, the tried and true functional ingredient that dates back to the Roman times, balsamic vinegar. Tarta is infused with delicate fruit balsamics that add interest, but more importantly, they're functional and good for the body. Balsamic serves a multitude of functions, but what I think is the biggest benefit to the body is that it controls blood sugar throughout the day, and it helps crush the cravings that we all grapple with throughout the day and throughout our lives. And it's also good for digestion. Those are just to name two. Tarta is also made with an elegant simplicity. There's no added sugar, there's no added artificial ingredients, and nothing that's suspect about the beverage. It's versatile. It complements any lifestyle, paleo, keto, vegan, gluten-free. Tarta fits right in. And it's currently offered in 3 beautiful, refreshing flavors: orange blossom, honey wild, and of course the champagne citrus. We just launched about a month ago, and it's gained a wonderful acceptance throughout New Jersey. And we just picked up a few accounts in Pennsylvania and looking to launch throughout the Mid-Atlantic in January. So thank you for your consideration of Tarta, and I hope you enjoy this unique, sparkling, next level functional seltzer. Thank you.
All right, well done.
Thanks.
So Jessica talked about her passion for balsamics and the reason for their inclusion in her beverage and the functional benefit that they have to consumers. Does that passion come through in the packaging, Mike?
It definitely comes through in the flavor, Ray. I mean, it is big and vinegar flavor. And if you like vinegar, you're going to like that, which, there's a lot of ACV drinks out there right now. So I think what I'm seeing on the package, I have two big points here. One is that makes seltzer and vinegar the hero versus Tarta. I know what I think I understand what you're trying to get at there, but I think that shouldn't be the hero. I think you want to pull somebody in with that. And then also the flavor. The flavor cues are, the colors are a little confusing for me. And I would also caution against the use of champagne because people are going to think it's alk. It's a great word, champagne. Everyone loves that word though. So hard to lay off of that word, I'm sure.
Perhaps. Jody, depends on the time of day, Mike. Jody, in terms of a wellness beverage, in terms of a vinegar infused seltzer, it seems like the market is out there. It seems like that market is growing. Do you feel like Tarta has what it takes to continue to grow and potentially emerge as a leader within that category?
I think awareness around balsamic vinegar is low. I've tried a handful of them at this point, and many of the ones I've sampled before this had a lot of stories around where the balsamic was sourced and what it was doing for the body. So I think what's missing from this, if I was just looking at what's become an overwhelming beverage cooler, is the entire story that we just heard around, the ancient Roman times and all of the good things for digestion. I know claims are very hard to get around, but tell some stories around how it's good for the belly and, play it safe. I think that there's probably a little bit, if this is going to be mainstream, the vinegar forward might be a little overwhelming as is, might need a little bit of love, but I think that the function of it has some potential.
Well, mainstream is the name of the game, especially for VEB when you guys are searching for the next billion-dollar brands for Coca-Cola. Do you see a mainstream opportunity for this brand for Tarta, Matt?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I probably not, but I think that this is sort of an example of the crossover from food to bev, right? And so therein lies an unlock potential around people who really love their vinegars and balsamic vinegars, et cetera, from a cooking perspective. Perhaps they'll be attracted to something they can consume in a more convenient format and get the benefits, the functional benefits that Jody was talking about. Is this a real scalable idea? I don't know. It feels it feels niche and narrow at this stage of the game, but I guess it depends on, if people will make that crossover from food to bev.
Richard, we have a little bit of time left. Are your retail customers looking for products like Tarta in terms of a functional sparkling water? Are they looking for more function in all the beverages that they put on their shelves?
If it falls into sparkling water, you're going to need some point of differentiation. I think here a lot of education is going to need to be spent on balsamic vinegar and how it differs from apple cider vinegar. The flavor profile is not for me, but there is a market out there. It is a little niche, but I think it's necessary if you're going to infiltrate the seltzer category.
All right, great feedback. Let's move on to our next semifinalist for this round, who is Sean Dunn, the owner of Shroom Shot. Sean, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you, Ray?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for joining us today. Shroom Shot, excited to hear about the brand. You ready to pitch it?
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Your 2 minutes will begin now.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sean Dunn. I am the co-founder of Shroom Shot, along with my brother, Justin. Shroom Shot is a line of wellness shots infused with functional mushrooms. For those of you who don't know, functional mushrooms are certain species of mushrooms that have really incredible health benefits that go above and beyond the mushrooms that you'll find in the produce section of the grocery store. These mushrooms have a really rich history of use throughout Asia and other parts of the world for their medicinal values. However, like many foods that are really great for us, medicinal mushrooms don't taste very great. In fact, many of them are bitter, earthy, or just tasteless overall. And the vast majority of mushroom products are pills, powders, and tinctures that don't really improve upon that experience. And we all know that medicine is only good if we actually use it. And that is why we created Shroom Shot. Shroom Shot delivers the functional benefits of mushrooms with a great taste and a convenient package that will make you want to incorporate mushrooms into your daily routine. Each one of our shots has a therapeutic dose of mushrooms, live probiotics, adaptogens, and 100% organic ingredients. We're very intentional about our flavors and the ingredients that we use to flavor our products. They not only taste good, but complement the functionality. For example, in our golden immunity shot, we have turkey tail mushroom, which is really incredible for supporting the immune system and fortifying the immune system. And we use things like ginger, turmeric, black pepper, and pineapple juice to, impart that flavor and also complement that functionality. Beyond what's inside of our shots, our packaging is another one of our strong points. We like to say it's the intersection between beverage and medicine. We like to keep it simple, fun, and vibrant and interesting. As many of you are aware, there's a huge shroom boom happening right now. There's a large demographic of people that are really resonating with mushrooms as a natural ingredient to better their health. And we're aiming to be the brand that brings the mushrooms to them in the most effective and delicious way possible. Thank you.
Jody, I'd love to get your thoughts to start out. Again, another brand that really fits into this wellness and sort of better for you lifestyle, albeit one that is still emerging in terms of its key functional ingredient. What do you think about the approach of using mushrooms in a functional shot?
I love it because it is hard to get mushrooms to taste good, and the consistency can often be a little funky. I think that having it in like a fun, playful package, and especially mine's gone, but the little plastic tear I kind of love on this one. But I think that, it's a really interesting mix of ingredients with the mushrooms. I do have to know that I want mushrooms. Like, I'm impressed that there's turkey tail in this because it's hard to find turkey tail in anything, but it's not going to make me feel something immediately. It's more of like I know it's good for me to drink on a daily or a weekly basis. So I'm also kind of craving the, like, what's it going to make me feel in the moment, which I think will just help add to it.
Richard, again, we're seeing shots emerge, shots of all kinds emerge and grow into a more in-demand kind of category. That being said, with mushrooms as being, the hero ingredient here, is this something that is really going to resonate with and be specific to a natural category? Do you see it being able to break out into different channels?
I think it would be accepted by the masses soon. I think a lot of brands with the growth of adaptogens are going to take this from natural to conventional and convenience. And this brand in particular, it's very clear. You know what you are going to get. It's a Shroom shot. Just a little feedback I want to give regarding the flow. I have the brand name. To the left is a mushroom. The functions in the middle, and then the flavors on the right side. Having it from top to bottom would be very helpful, but no, I think this is definitely a mainstream product. What better time than now to launch a Shroom shot?
Mike, in following along those lines in terms of feedback, what better time than now? But it's still got to taste great. Jody crushed her shot. Did you crush yours?
I did. I crushed them both. Nate did too, who is our resident mushroom expert, and said, I only got a little mushroom on the tail end, the turkey tail end.
But
all right. On that note, we'll ask for Matt's opinion on this kind of product. Functional juice shots out there. I mean, there's a bunch of them that seem to be doing really, really well. One of the key factors in terms of how they do well is whether or not they offer a clear functional component to them. You get that this is offering consumers a really distinct message in terms of its functionality, or do you think more needs to be done in terms of how that message is come across on the packaging and the branding?
Yeah, no, I think the combination of the packaging, shots, refrigerated shots in particular, are now representing, functional benefits pretty much across the board. You think about the immunity messaging that's coming through now loud and clear on a lot of these. This one does. And then the Shroom boom, I've got to use that myself in the future. Thank you. from Sean. But yeah, the shroom boom and that emerging sort of trend around mushrooms as a key ingredient from a functional perspective. So yeah, I think they deliver on it. I really do.
I could listen to Matt say shroom boom all day long.
I swear, I was just going to say, Mike is going to start to say shroom boom every time we have a meeting. It's going to be a thing now.
I'm
Thank you
remix
so much,
that.
Sean, and thanks so much, Matt. All right. All right. Our next semifinalist for this round is Shaylin Haywood, who is the co-founder of Gination. Shaylin, how are you?
Ray, I'm excellent. I've seen you host so many things, and I'm so happy to be across from you today.
Well, thank you very much for saying that. It's my honor to be across from you. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
I'd love to hear about Gination. Are you ready to give your pitch?
I'm ready.
Fantastic. Your 2 minutes begin now.
When you buy a ginger drink, do you want to taste it? Well, so do we. Hi, judges. I'm Shaylin, and my sister Sandra and I are the co-founders of Gination. We created this beverage in the spirit of wanting to feel, taste, and experience the natural potency of ginger. When my sister Sandra became pregnant with her first child, this resulted in her having a weakened immune system, extreme nausea, and digestive issues that made it hard for her to stomach anything. We bought her every product we could find on the market that said it had ginger in it. But unfortunately, this left her feeling even worse because of all the additives and sugar. Like my sister, 74% of Americans are living with a digestive issue. And last year in 2019, $5.1 billion was spent on digestive health products and stomach remedies. Gination is an everyday problem solver. Ginger is known for boosting immunity. It aids in digestion, it relieves nausea, and it relieves common cold and flu symptoms. We use a premium, high quality, potent, organic Peruvian ginger that comes straight from the Amazon basin. Our ginger provides a robust spice and a powerful punch of ginger that gives Gination a personality of its own. We have 4 amazing flavors, and one of those is vegan. We just launched at drinkgination.com, and we offer a mixed case so consumers can try each flavor. We'll be hitting shelves in January with a retail price of $3.99. Remember, everyone, you are what you eat and drink. Vote for Gination to go to the finals. Thank you.
All right. Well done, Shaylin. Fantastic presentation. Gination. Matt, Shaylin talked a bit about digestive health and gut health as being so important, and ginger as being an important ingredient in delivering that kind of functionality to benefit consumers. Is it something are more and more consumers aware of and demanding ginger in their beverages?
Yeah, think about it. Ginger as an ingredient has become quite mainstream when you think about the large carbonated soft drink brands that have ginger as a flavor or ingredient. So there's a lot of name recognition. I think during pandemic times, we've seen a big uptick in all things that bring immunity to the body. And so certainly ginger is in that hunt very strongly. One of the top trending functional ingredients in the immunity space. So I think Shaylin and her sister have nailed that, and what a great personality. I mean, she really delivered on the it factor for me.
Jody, when you're talking about a single ingredient focus, I'm sure that's something you understand pretty well, especially at the outset of the launch of Watermelon Water. What are some of the things that Shaylin is doing right in terms of enhancing the development of this brand and getting off to the right start, on the right foot?
That's a tricky question for me, because I think in some ways you can really own a category and build a category, and in other ways it can be very narrowing. I think that there's a ton of stories here. So the power of ginger being now a much more mainstream recognized ingredient is amazing. The rest of your ingredient panel is super clean, and there's it's all organic. It's, there's a sourcing story with Peru. there's two sisters, there's this personality around it. Like there's a lot to it. And I think that the commitment to why you created this as an immune boosting, digestive balancing, like lifestyle enhancement could potentially go well beyond ginger, especially with a 4-SKU lineup. Like there's other ingredients. So I would probably encourage you to look at what those are sooner than later so that you don't get pigeonholed.
Mike, as you know, we are fiends. We are ginger fiends at BevNet. Love a lot of ginger in our beverages. What do you think of Gination in terms of its flavor? Is this a beverage you would drink every day?
I actually think you could dial up the ginger a bit, but I did like the ginger. I obviously I love ginger, so more ginger is okay here. I had a couple of points of feedback. I think whenever you stack a logo where it's, you know, when you do Gination, I think that makes it a little challenging for people to read. They'll think it's Ginsation or something like that. So I would encourage you to maybe move to a single word. And also in the formulation, I found that there were, you know, the first SKU that I tried had 2 ingredients, and then I was, you know, gradually moving up into 3, 4, 5, and I think they almost felt like separate beverages, separate like lines of, or they almost felt like separate beverages, and I think that that could be jarring for someone who tries one and then you go to try another and it's like totally different. So I would maybe not vary them quite as much.
And Richard, you know, Shaylin talked about immune health and immune boosting function as an important factor for more and more consumers. Do you see it that way? And do you see ginger as being that functional ingredient that can deliver on that benefit?
Ginger definitely is that functional ingredient. Everything that we have that has ginger in it has been surging during this pandemic times. But even prior to the pandemic, we've been seeing a lot of growth in this segment. I will say that having it be more ginger forward would be necessary.
All right. Outstanding feedback. Let's move on to our... We lost you there for a second, Richard, but I think your feedback was fantastic. Let's move on to our next semifinalist for this round, who is Mitch Jacobson, the founder and CEO of Revita Energy Tea. Mitch, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. It's such an honor to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us. Are you ready to give your pitch?
I sure am.
Okay, your 2 minutes will begin now.
I'm Mitch. I'm the founder of Revita Energy Tea, and I want to talk to you quickly about productivity, because this new normal has more demands, more stress, more distractions, and we all want to be more productive, to do more, to be better. We're all looking for that edge, something that will help keep us on our game amidst the chaos. This is the why behind Revita Energy Tea, your secret weapon for excellence. After driving a good friend in his early 20s to the hospital for a heart attack that was associated energy drinks, I decided I had to make a change. Revita is made with the cleanest ingredients: black tea, gold and organic honey, mouth-watering fruit juices from Oregon, because we shouldn't be putting loads of refined sugar in our body and chemicals we can't even pronounce. Revita combines the power of natural caffeine and amino acids found in tea to create long-lasting energy without the crash. So you have the energy to focus on what matters most to you. And at only 30 calories, naturally sweetened, 4 delicious flavors, Revita is your go-to for that afternoon slump, that tough workout, that night shift, or for some customers, even for their ultra marathons. And packaged in a durable, flexible design pairs well with your business suit, your scrubs, or your hiking boots. Flexible beverage pouches take up less space, they use less materials, they're recyclable, and they require less transportation, causing less emissions. Plus, they really stand out on a shelf or in the cooler. We've proven this market in over 300 stores across Canada, and we're so excited to be launching into the US starting on Amazon Prime in January and at retail shortly after. Revitalize means to imbue with new life and vitality, and that is exactly what Revita will do to your day. Revita, be the best that you can be.
All right, well done. Richard, let's start with you. You know, Mitch talked about the package as standing out on shelf. Is this a package that you think could fit on a lot of shelves? Is this something that would help them in the long run in terms of standing out in terms of package design? Or is it a little bit more difficult given that it is in a pouch format?
I think it's be a little more difficult, and great for places like REI for backpacking and outdoor activities. But in the convenience store, you know, you may be missing cold box opportunities. It's not going to fit in the glide rack. You know, it may topple over. So no, I understand the it's more eco-friendly. I think you really need to have those points home, but it is going to limit you as you enter mass distribution.
Matt, I think we've seen a couple other energy focused tea brands or energy tea brands come to market. In terms of that sort of nomenclature, in terms of that sort of positioning, is that an opportunity? Is an opportunity a tea-based energy drink to differentiate yourself from other energy drinks and other tea drinks for that matter?
Yeah, I think so. Certainly the clean aspect that this brand and others who have come before it is interesting. Seemingly that consumers are attracted to that cleaner ingredient statement. The packaging, I think, while it is unique, at least in the energy spectrum of brands, maybe that's the connection, right? The packaging with the clean energy messaging might be the way to go. That might be breakthrough versus cans. So yeah, I think there's something here. Again, energy through a form different than what we've seen historically may be on the way.
Jody, a lot of times when you're selling your brand, you're selling your story. And Mitch gave a little bit of background on why he created the brand. Talk to me a little bit about, what you think of how that story could be incorporated into a pitch to an investor, to a retailer.
I think to an investor or to the press, it could be really impactful. I think to a retailer, retailers tend to want to know what the product is and why it's distinct and why it's in a package that's unfamiliar to them, less of the story. So there's differentiation there. I mean, I think the one thing for me is that the Revita name, the connection to the concept of revitalization or even like productivity is an interesting angle for this brand that most energy drinks don't take. It's often about performance rather than productivity. I think that that's really interesting. I like that it's an Amazon play because it can get to people's doorsteps, at least for right now. The taste profile for those functions, though, the guarana seed was so forward for me that the concept of having like a tea-based energy, which I got really excited about, my expectation didn't match the flavor because of that intensity of that flavor. So that's the one thing that with the story and the productivity and the revitalization didn't totally connect from like all of the different layers.
Mike, you get the last word. When I think of revitalization, as Jody was mentioning, it's a word that can be used in a number of different ways. What are your thoughts in terms of how it's used on the package and the brand name and in terms of the label hierarchy?
I'm kind of mad at Jody because I think we're mind melding right now. I think that this package is very clean, and with that clean, you want the flavor to come out very clean as well. And I think that there's some work to be done there on the formulation of the product. I got more of a syrupy, raisiny flavor, but that said, I understand that for the functionality that you're going for, you can't do just anything you want and get the same functionality. So I think you're making steps in the right direction in terms of the flavor, but I do think there is some work there to pay off the beautiful packaging that you have there, which I think is clean, and it pulls you in and gives you the feeling, that feeling that that's going to happen for you. I think you can, just work on the payoff.
All right, great stuff. Let's move on to our next semifinalist for the round, who is Danielle Goss, who is the founder and CEO of Coolmox. Danielle, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. Great to have you, and excited to hear your pitch. Are you ready to give it?
Let's do it.
Let's do it indeed. Your 2 minutes begin now.
All right. Well, hi, everyone. Great to be here. Just over a year and a half ago, my husband and I found out we were expecting our first child. We quickly started to look for ready to drink alcohol-free cocktails that felt fun and social. I was bummed when we weren't able to find many options, and much of what we were able to find still contained trace amounts of alcohol. As a registered dietitian, I didn't feel comfortable with that. Creating Coolmox wasn't just about the beverages. It was about creating the experience of drinking a cocktail without the alcohol. Handcrafted with simple ingredients and natural flavors, Coolmox ready-to-drink alcohol-free cocktails are flavorful and fun. Uniquely created with health and wellness in mind, Coolmax are gluten-free, non-GMO, caffeine-free, and contain nothing artificial. We use high-quality ingredients and just a touch of real cane sugar, which makes them 50 calories or less without sacrificing any taste. Infused with spirit notes to mimic the classic cocktail experience, our unique lineup of Coolmax cocktails has 3 delicious flavors: the strawberry macarita, the mock mule, and the blackberry mojito. We're on pace to be one of the first to market of our kind in the emerging low and no alcohol category and are poised for big growth in 2021. We partnered with beer distributors across Minnesota and Wisconsin back in July of 2020 and began selling at liquor stores, grocery stores, bars, and restaurants. We also launched an online shop to reach consumers nationwide. Finding ways to fit in and be social with a water in hand can be hard. With Coolmax, designated drivers, pregnant and nursing moms, the sober curious, and consumers everywhere looking to drink less finally have an option. Thank you.
All right, good stuff. Mike, I've seen more and more cocktails showing up on your Instagram feed. I can't imagine why. But if you're looking for
pandemic, right?
option,
just in case. Spoiler alert.
Okay, there we go.
All right.
You know, if you are looking for something with no alcohol, but with all the flavor of a cocktail, you think Coolmax kind of fits the bill?
I think there are aspects of it that fit the bill. I think if you like a sweet cocktail, this might be for you. I think there are other aspects to explore that are really important in cocktails, like bitter and burn. And I think that these are sort of lacking here in this offering. That's my preference when I'm looking for a cocktail. So these mocktails, they come off more like sodas for me personally. But I think for a lot of cocktail drinkers who like a sweeter cocktail, this might be something for them to taste. One thing on the label that kind of put me off a bit was that there's a really tiny premium at the top. I think that's kind of like an elf when it's like, hey, world's best cup of coffee. I think you want someone else to say your premium versus you saying your premium on your label. I don't think you need that there. I think you already know. They're going to turn around, look at the ingredients and say, oh, okay, I got the premium.
Richard, as much as consumers are looking for functional beverages and beverages with a functional attribute to them, it seems like they're looking for more sober curious options, sober specific or centric options. Are they, number one? And number two, how does Coolmax fit into that perceived growing demand?
As Mike mentioned, it is appealing to a specific palate of those that would want to drink sugary cocktails. I think Danielle's path of going through a beer distributors is brilliant because you want to make sure that beer distributor can attack those that want alcohol and those are also sober curious.
All right. So Jody, is this a product that you would drink? I'm not sure if you're a cocktail drinker, but if you are and you were looking for something that, again, asking Mike, if you're looking for something that had no alcohol for a particular reason that you were, prefer a particular reason that you weren't drinking that day, is this something that you would reach for in the fridge, that you would reach for on a regular basis?
Probably not, and mostly because I love the ingredient profile. Like I like that there's only 11 grams of sugar, but the addition of the natural sugars makes it so sweet that it blows my palate out. So I think for me, I would be intrigued by it. I would be looking at it. I'd be impressed by what's in it, but the flavors are just too sweet for me. But I think that there's a lot of people who are really looking for alcohol alternatives and they love the ready to drink segment. And I think that there's huge opportunity there. So I see it, like I get it.
Mm-hmm. Matt, we've seen the Coca-Cola company very, very slightly dip its toes in the water when it comes to cocktails or seltzers or, adult seltzers, things like that. What are your thoughts on Coolmax and the opportunity that Danielle outlined in her pitch?
Yeah, so when you think about the occasion, right? What to drink when you don't drink, the way I would coin it. It's interesting. And so that's what's led to this sober curious movement that we've seen, be here for a few years. And then to Richard's point, I think it's very clever for Danielle to kind of get into the beer networks, because they're looking for more tonnage around this new occasion based category, low and zero alcohol. So yeah, I think there is a trend. There's no question. What we don't know yet is what brands what will they need to deliver to the consumer. To Jody's point, Mike's point around, does it need to be the sweetness level, the flavor, does flavor matter here? It's not really a functional play. So we still have a lot to learn, I think, about where this goes from a category development perspective. But this is certainly an interesting entry into it, and I think there'll be a lot of them to be watching in the future.
We're definitely going to learn a lot from Cool Mox.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Great stuff. Well done, Danielle. Let's move on to our final semifinalists for this round. That's Claudia Marion and Michelle Tremondi, who are the CEO and co-founders of Kite. Claudia, Michelle, how are you?
Pretty well. Hi guys, thanks for having us.
All right, your 2 minutes will begin now.
Hi, I'm Claudia. And I'm Michelle. And we're the founders of Kite. Kite is a beverage company with a mission of connecting the wisdom of plants to people. We make sparkling botanical infusions using functional herbs and adaptogens with the goal of restoring inner balance and easing stress in body and mind. We formulated Kite for people similar to ourselves who are craving more balance in their lives. We shared a deep passion for living a holistic lifestyle, but as busy working moms, we had a lot on the go. We were stressed. Our go-to mom pack was adaptogens, and we fully believed in their magic. This aligned passion kicked off a 2-year-long journey of bringing Kite's Rise, Align, and Unwind to the market. Kite is all about supporting our holistic well-being and bringing more balance into our lives. It's where functionality meets better for you. We sit in the functional beverage category at a price of $2.99. We're flavorful, refreshing, tasty, and simple. That's right. Kite is steeped in goodness. In fact, we make Kite by steeping whole plant botanicals into infusions. This process harnesses the flavor and function of our herbs and botanicals without any sweeteners or natural flavors. Kite is organic, vegan, and Whole30 certified, and with zero sugar, it's keto and paleo friendly. That's right. Kite is made for the wellness-centered consumer who cares about what's in the label. It's for those consumers that deeply understand that what they put into their body affects their well-being. Kite launched in late February of 2020. It's been challenging. Despite that, Kite's really taken off. We've rolled out national distribution across Canada. We have an online direct-to-consumer business in US and Canada, and we've currently onboarded with our US distribution partner. All this aside, what we're finding is that people are loving and connecting to Kite, and we can't wait to continue to steep the goodness. Thank you. Thank you. It's time to unwind.
Well done. Well done indeed. Mike, let's start with you. From a packaging standpoint and a labeling standpoint, what do you think of Kite, and also what do you think of the functional ingredient and the flavor name being essentially the name of
Set me
the
up, right?
type of beverage?
I
What's
like
that?
the schematic. I think I like the schematic on the front for the flux capacitor, and I'm hoping it can take us past 2020. I think that's what that is there. No, I don't know about leading with a feeling. I think leading with a flavor is better, especially when the flavor inside is incredible. Like, this is a really good drink. I've had this before. I can drink this all day, and I like the way that it makes me feel, but I don't think that's the thing that brings somebody to a drink initially. Now, that said, maybe that's I think it's a better secondary or tertiary message for Kite.
Matt, when you see Kite and when you picked up the can for the first time, did you understand what it was? Or did it take a little bit more explanation, as Claudia and Michelle offered in their pitch?
Yeah, it took a little bit of education for me. It wasn't an immediate connection. As Mike said, great product, tastes great. As I explored the label a bit more, I obviously saw the sparkling tea, the adaptogens. It just now did I realize this point around botanically brewed, to see that come out, and then the calories were 0 to less than 5. So A lot of great attributes, but no, I didn't get the immediate, the obviousness of all that from just looking at the package the first time.
Richard, again, this is a product that has some strong functional attributes. There might be a question of where does this sit on shelf? When you are approaching a retailer and ask them to position a brand in a certain way, does it help to have a certain number of attributes that make it easier to do so, or is this a product that you can say, okay, you can go to a retailer and tell them immediately this belongs in this place, this belongs in this place, and it'll sell well in this place?
This product will belong in the tea set. I think until we see the development and proliferation of more adaptogens, we may eventually have an adaptogenic type cooler, as we've seen with CBD. But I think right now this is a tea, it's tea forward, put in the tea set, and as adaptogenic type products start to become more popular, there'll be a new door and a new place for you guys, or for you ladies, in the cold box.
Jody, you'll get the last word of the entire competition in terms of the flavor aspect and how it interacts with the functional attributes, the functional ingredients. What are your thoughts on Kite?
So this packaging is made for me. Like, I'm looking at, Tulsi and ashwagandha and moringa, and I'm like, oh, these people understand me. Like, they get me. Finally, there's a product for me. And I think that when I look at the label and I look at the package, the opacity of it made me expect something that was a little more potent in flavor. And so when I opened it and I had more of like a sparkling water experience, I found myself wanting a little bit more, a little more hibiscus, a little more orange, a little more lemon, and maybe even, and I'm like so into having no sugar in it, but I know sometimes that balance can be hard. And so I found as I kept going back to it that I was like wanting a tiny bit more punch. And then for the first time in this discussion, I heard the concept of sparkling tea, which I missed when I read this. And that aligns with what I'm saying. I feel like I expect it to be a little bit more intense, and I want it to be a little bit more intense because I totally fell in love with the packaging and the concept of the whole thing.
All right. Great feedback, great advice. Claudia, Michelle, great presentation. Thank you so much for joining us today. All right. Wow. That brings us to the end of all the semifinal presentations. Just an amazing job by all the presenters. Just always remarkable to see how folks are attempting to disrupt the beverage industry in so many unique and fun ways. Congratulations to all of you. You've done an amazing job to this point, and we're hopeful that we can help you in your journey in the days and months to come. 6 of you will be advancing to the final round, and that's what the judges are going to be doing right now, is deciding who's going to move forward. But your friends, followers, and family will have an opportunity to vote as well, and that is in our audience voting. So we're going to show a screen now with a number that corresponds to each brand in the competition. Once again, if you want to vote for your favorite brand, just call or text the number with that number of your brand, and you can vote, and your vote will be counted for the next 30 minutes. So 30 minutes from now is when the voting will stop, but please vote. All right, amazing job to our judges. I'm so blessed that we were able to have everyone here today. Such great feedback and advice. Thank you so much for all your contributions. I know this is gonna be tough to pick just 6 brands to move on to the finals, but I know you'll do it. In the meantime, I just want to say thank you so much to our amazing team at BevNet, Nosh, Brewbound, and Taste Radio for everything you do, bringing this high quality content to our audience. You guys are amazing. Signing off for that fantastic team, our judges, our semifinalists. I'm Ray Latif. We'll talk to you next time.